What's the most vile, disgusting thing you've seen someone do in public? I lived in San Francisco for 17 years. I've seen homeless people giving jetted BJs, crapping on the sidewalk, shooting up, etc. Saw a guy go up to a flock of pigeons, somehow managed to grab one, and seemingly snapped its head. Did some work at a train station a while ago. One morning the station master called me into the office, where they were reviewing the CCTV footage from the night before. Saw a woman walk up to the drinking fountain, hitch up her dress, straddle the fountain and proceed to wash her private part right there in the fountain while the other commuters watched on. Haven't touched a public fountain since. Yup, I will never use a public fountain again. Why are people so gross? Homeless dude in La gets up from his perch, walks over to put his back against a nice marble wall, slides down to a sitting position and just shoots down the wall. Gets up like nothing happened and goes back to his spot. I'm not sure which thing I was most bothered by, the fact that he did that or the fact that nobody gave a frick that it was happening. Old woman on a public train in a wheelchair. Right in the middle of the aisle she had her pants down to her mid-thighs, masturbating, eyes closed, making noises and everything. I just don't understand how people can do this kind of thing and just not care. From afar I saw a man put something in another guy's drink while he was talking to his friends. I didn't think he knew the guy, so I was appalled that I actually saw that. I walked up to the guy with the drink and told him and the bartender. The preparator vanished, but it has made me paranoid now about going out. Good on ya for alerting the bartender. Some people would have pretended like nothing happened. Witnessed a homeless man jacking off on a bench on a very busy street with a blanket over him attempting to hide it. When I was a little kid, I saw a man throw his dog over the guardrail into a rushing river. No one stopped him and it has stuck with me forever. I saw a homeless man fricking his dog under a bridge. Guess it wasn't so much public, but I sure didn't want to see it. Public toilets of my student dorm. We had one toilet on each floor. Every morning the cleaning lady cleaned the toilet and the bathroom in general. That was the only time of the day I took a crap. At 6 AM the cleaning ladies arrived. At 7:30 I was crapping and at 8 I had to be at university. By noon there was crap on the floor surrounding the toilet, crap on the toilet itself, on, not in, often crap on the walls, and once I found crap on the fricking ceiling. There was often puke from guys that were drunk, and pee was pretty much everywhere. I actually had special flip-flops that I used only when I needed to use the bathroom, used them for 1 month and replaced with a new pair. The worst part were the weekends when the cleaning ladies weren't coming. Saturday morning was already heck. By Sunday night the toilets in the campus were pretty much unusable. You could find crap in the showers or the sink. I crap you not. Funny thing is, I never found any of these taking a dump. I swore to myself that when I do, I would grab his freaking head and wipe the floor of crap with him. They were like ninjas taking a quick dump and going back into their rooms. In the weekends when I had to crap I went to McDonald's or kept it in me and waited for Monday morning. 2 girls 1 cup is nothing compared to these memories. Dang those poor cleaners. I used to live in an apartment right next to university. The toilets and stalls were all so nice and clean and big I would usually walk over to drop the kids off at the pool. Also saved a lot of money on TP and soap. Reach into their pants while waiting in line and perform a deep butthole scratch before paying for something. Was riding with a co-worker after eating lunch around 2 PM. We drove around the side of another restaurant where we notice a guy in a chef's jacket standing outside his car kind of blocking himself with the door. I suppose we startled him, and he spun around exposing his downed pants and boner. We saw a kitchen employee jacking off in the parking lot of his restaurant. Guy on the L in Chicago had his pants around his thighs, no underwear, and was touching himself through his dingy white t-shirt about 18 inches away from this poor woman. She was in a seat shielding herself with her knees up to her chin and her purse against her face. 2 heroes took him by the shoulders and pressed him up against the car door until the next stop, where they pushed him out. When I was about 12, I went to the city with my family to go to a basketball game. I live in the suburbs so I am not familiar with city life and what it entails. A bit before the game, My family was just coming out of a restaurant when I saw two old homeless people fricking on a bench. People just walked by like it was nothing, but to me at the time, it was scarring. EWW, that'd be traumatizing as an adult. I'm on the rowing team and my boat is rowing under the bridge as usual when these kids on the bridge waited for the right moment that we would pass under and just pee all over us. Our coxswain sort of saw it coming since the kids were aligning themselves with our boat but just fully realized when they started unzipping. By then it was too late to shift course. Our backs faced the bridge as we row through, so we had no idea what was going on at first. But man, their pee smelled awful and we just had to continue our 90-minute practice in urine-soaked clothes. Frick those kids. When I was a kid, 13-14 probably, me and my group of friends, I was good mates with 3, but got on with the other few, were out in the woods and rivers just messing around. And there was a mother duck with a bunch of her cute little fluffy ducklings. They were cute, just minding their own business. Then all of a sudden a rock hits the duck right in the neck, instantly crippling it. It started flapping around, blood pumping out of its neck, and the ducklings were all panicking and I was just devastated. Turned around and 3 of them, the other lads, were in hysterical laughter over it. One of them had thrown the rock full force at the duck. As a laugh, I genuinely didn't know what to do. The ducklings has all scattered and the duck just floated dead in the water. I just left, went home, and in a decade I've never been able to get it out of my head. Duck moms often adopt stray ducklings, so there's at least a good chance some of the little ones survived. Saw a guy with one leg take a crap on the hood of a car. England vs Wales rugby match while at university. I am Welsh and this was a Welsh university. We were watching in the bar and Wales beat England, so everyone was on a high. I decide to go for a pee and see that one of the urinals has a bucket full of pee underneath it. I mean brimming. I avoid this urinal like a good boy. An England fan then comes in, angry about the loss, sees me wearing a Wales rugby shirt, tells me to F off. Then this butthats grabs the bucket and throws the whole thing at me, drenching me in the pee of about 40 different dudes. Ruined the day, ruined the win. Very vile, very disgusting. I'm an Englishman and I hope he got the crap beaten out of him that night. I was in a reception area of my local council office waiting to see someone when a young couple with their toddler walked in. The man asked to see someone and they sat down. The lady on reception must have glanced at the man because he got up, walked to her and asked what she was looking at. She ignored him. He then told her if she did it again she would receive a mouthful of spit in her face. Security was called and he was asked to leave. After some exchanged words the man went towards the door. As he walked out he shouted, "Be hither," and to my shock his partner stood up and walked out behind him. The most vile human acting in the most disgusting way. I worked at a grocery store when I was 19-20, and I was heading out to my car for my break. It was raining pretty heavily, so I was going to sit in my car and read for a bit. As I exited the store, I noticed something long and lumpy laying in the middle of the parking lot, but it was hard to make out through the rain. A couple people went by it, gave it a quick glance and continued running to their car to get out of the rain. I approached it and discovered it was an elderly man who had fallen. Everyone had just looked at him and kept walking. He had a gash on his head and was bleeding, too. I ran back into the store and hollered at my manager to call an ambulance because someone had fallen and needed help. I rushed back out and sat with him until the ambulance came. After he left and things settled down, I felt so angry and disgusted at those two people who just passed him by and left him there, hurt, scared, and shaking, alone. I'll never know who they were or what their thought process was to justify leaving him like that, but I'd like to say, WTF to them. A woman fricking herself with the handle end of what looked like a kind of homemade broomstick, outside El Polo Loco on Sunset Boulevard. I was walking down the street when a man about 10 feet in front of me stepped off the curb, pulled down his shorts, bent over and arched a stream of liquid crap about a foot out, right onto the busy sidewalk. When you gotta go, you gotta go, but he could have at least sprayed away from people. Saw someone crapping in the middle of the street at around 9 PM in San Francisco. Tenderloin. Beat his child in the car parked directly in front of the store with a flip-flop. He straight up hit her in the face with it multiple times. She was trying to cover herself so he hit her hands. He'd reach all the way back and beat the fricking soul out of her, and you could hear her cry in the car. I was like 12 at the time, so my sister just told me to go in the store and stop staring. Not something I witnessed, but something I did. When I was 13, I projectile vomited on a subway platform holding probably 200 people at Grand Central Station in New York City. I had just finished a lukewarm hot cocoa. I didn't hit anyone, but I figure it must have been the most vile, disgusting thing one of those people has seen in public. Dude, it's New York City. That probably wasn't even the most disgusting thing they'd seen that day. Two homeless people bumping uglies in a bus booth next to a high traffic intersection. I saw the drunk guy spit out his Felgium, then afterwards he picked it up and ate it right in front of us. Me and my brother puked so bad from that scene. I attended the New Year's celebration on Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro. It was amazing in so many ways, and truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Towards the end of the night, as drunkenness was at an all-time high, and available porta potties were at an all-time low, we watched numerous people just squat down and drop a deuce. Some were kind enough to dig a little hole, other people left it right on top for the world to see, and this wasn't one or two instances. We probably saw a dozen people do this. Walking home was like walking through a minefield. As a side note about how terrible humans are, something like £15 million, 315 tons of trash was removed the next day. Dear God, I can't imagine that smell in the summer. I once saw a woman drop her cigarette into a puddle of pee, fish it back out and try to light it for a good while with it in her mouth. Then when she finally realized it was too soaked through to light properly, she put it back into her carton. Finger bash his 150 kilograms misses on the way to an AFL game in a packed train. People would rather be jammed into the armpit of an overweight sweaty dude than be next to that massive lady moaning. I was almost crushed by the scurry of people noping the frick away from that, so I don't blame them. Someone should have sat across from them and started rubbing his dong and making noises just to make them feel uncomfortable. I mean, people pay to watch live action, and here it was, free of charge. I used to work as a CCTV operator for the local council UK. One Saturday night shift I spotted a suspicious dude hiding behind some cars near a shopping centre. He kept peeking towards the centre itself as if watching something, so I zoomed in further to see what he was looking at and realized he was watching a couple getting it on. Not entirely unusual for a Saturday night in that town centre. I must have caught them right as the deed was done, as they promptly decoupled, adjusted their clothes, shared a snog and stumbled off towards the nearest clubs hand in hand. Vile and disgusting. Right. Hold your horses. You ain't heard crap yet. The suspicious dude then prowled over to the place of their promiscuity and looked around, finally picking something off the floor. Another zoom revealed it to be a recently used condom, still warm, one can only assume, which he unerringly raised to his lips and drained the contents in one go before throwing it in a nearby bin and continuing on with his night. I still shudder thinking about it now. I saw some serious crap through the lenses of those cameras, but a random pervert drinking out of a freshly discarded condom takes a gold fricking medal. So I work third shift in a 24H fast food chain, and I have a daily visitor I'll call Brian. Brian is 69 and had a stroke 3 years ago, so he doesn't listen or answer very well and generally ignores everyone. Every time he goes outside for a cigarette, he'll come back in and proceed to cough obnoxiously loud with all his might every couple of minutes and completely gross out other guests. Every night. I've grown used to it, but dang, it's brutal. Reminds me of my aunt who passed last year. She was in her late 80s, blind in one eye, mostly deaf, needed a portable oxygen generator, and still smoked heavily. You'd be talking to her, and then out of nowhere she'd have a brutal, dry, 3-5-minute coughing fit, and then resume where she was in the conversation like nothing happened. When I was a little kid, there was a guy next door to me that was quite a bit older, probably high school, whereas I was around 6-8 years old. I looked up to this guy a lot. At the time, I thought he was really cool. One day, his pregnant cat was giving birth in his garage, and we were there watching. I was super excited. I was about to see kittens. equals D. After the first one was born, my friend picked up the kitten, while the mom cat hissed bloody murder at him, and he just casually said, well, we've already got a cat, and he proceeds to put the kitten's neck into the blades of a pair of scissors. I lost my freaking crap. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm demanding that he put the kitten down immediately, pleading, everything. He looks genuinely shocked, like he doesn't understand my objections. I still remember his face. He wasn't teasing me or trolling. He was legit about to chop the heads off of all the kittens. Eventually, the other neighbors come running over, and when they hear what the guy was about to do, they couldn't believe it either. The guy finally put down the kittens, and when the guy's parents came home, they were appalled, grounded the guy, and let the mom raise the kittens, and found homes for them. I couldn't talk for about a week. After all that screaming, never talk to that guy again. He's probably off being a psycho somewhere, but at least he didn't kill the kittens. I worked at Tim Hortons. We had a regular that was clearly mentally disabled. One day he decided to lean rhythmically against the order counter, basically like a standing, prone masturbation session. His face revealed that he definitely came. Then he spoke and a chunk of chewed food flew out of his mouth onto the counter. I didn't serve him. I got in trouble from the shift manager. I didn't care. It being Tim's does not surprise me. I saw a dude give another dude a gross BJ on Bourbon Saint during Mardi Gras in 2001. The brojob by itself wouldn't have been gross to me. Be gay all you want, NBD. But the guy giving head was on his knees in a pile roughly a foot high made of filth and human excrement. I didn't get a good look at the man receiving, but I imagine he couldn't have been too clean himself in that squalor. That and the fact that there was a crowd of at least 30 dudes standing there watching. Once we realized what was going on, we figured we had gotten too far down Bourbon and turned back around. No, you needed to toughen up and keep going. There's no telling what sort of wonders you would have seen once you got past the kneeling in crap BJ area. Someone on the bus kept violently coughing up phlegm into a handkerchief, then locked eye contact with me, smiled and proceeded to slowly lick the crap in the handkerchief, without breaking eye contact. I was at a pretty busy movie theater and I watched a guy coming out of the bathroom with a large soda in one hand and a plate of pretzel bites in the other. He pulls the door open and hip checks it to keep it open. A single pretzel bite falls off the tray onto the highly trafficked men's room floor, like right in that line of sticky footprints that forms in a really busy restroom. Just picked that thing up and popped it right in his mouth. Might as well just lick all the urinals at that point. It was only one little nugget of food. Let it go, man. Let it go. I'm disturbed that he brought his food into the bathroom with him, and now I'm gagging. 1. I used to work in a really bad part of town, and one afternoon driving home from work I saw some random guy, most likely hopped up on substance, stick his hand down his throat and vomit all over the sidewalk next to our car. 2. During Christmas time some lady straight up changed her baby on the table in the food court of the mall, didn't wipe it down or anything, told the custodial crew, they didn't do anything. Not exactly in public. My grandmother hated the birds that made a nest in the tree in her front yard. She told my dad to get rid of them. My dad saw there were baby birds in the nest. He tossed the nest and the baby birds into a garbage bag and slammed it repeatedly on the ground. I'm still freaking horrified. Some dude using a long stick to masturbate a dog. Some 300-pound woman wearing a muumuu type dress with a newborn child. When it came time to breastfeed, she took the muumuu off and breastfed her child totally naked in a public mall. While I was in the lifeguard stand at a public pool, I had to watch two people fricking in the hot tub. My dudes, we drain it for cleaning once per month. You could have either waited a couple of weeks or gone in there 3 days earlier. Does a nursing home count as public? I once had a resident come screaming up the hallway, completely starkers, chewing a brown washer. That's a flannel cloth. She'd scream, then take a bite on this washer. It took 3 of us to help her as she was so angry. As you may have guessed, that was feces on the washer and her mouth was full of it. She was so angry, and would attempt to throw herself forwards and take lunging bites at us. Her room was a punami. It was just all round horrid. The lady herself had dementia, so I had no blame towards her, though she was always on edge or quick with anger. It's a weird area in aged care. As silly as it may sound, opinions are divided on helping a resident that has feces everywhere. Do we honor their choice of saying no despite the mess? Or do we intervene, force that person into getting cleaned? This lady, I like to think we helped as best we could, but far out. I now always carry a spare change of clothes and couldn't get my appetite back for a couple of days after that. Of all the poop I've seen, that had to be the worst one. None of the other residents really cared, haha. They are pretty non-judgmental most of the time. You have been visited by the wealth rat. Subscribe in 12 seconds and he will share his wealth with you. Thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.